Peace. What's the word? What's happening, everybody? Hopefully, everybody is having a powerful, positive, productive, healthy, peaceful Friday. Hopefully, y'all got about 45 minutes to an hour or so to chop it up, listen to the build, just tap in with the kid. Give y'all about 5 to 6 minutes to tap in. Let me know how we living and feeling on this wonderful Friday before we tap into the subject matter for the day. And y'all see what it is, man. We talking about overthinking and how that's pretty much a disease in my eyes. And that's what's holding a lot of you all back. So we're going to tap into the concept of overthinking. Magic, peace, what's happening? Patrick, peace, what's happening? Serving the God, peace, what's happening? Montel, peace, what's the word? How everybody living and feeling on this wonderful Friday? What's the word? Cameron, peace, what's happening? We talking about overthinking. Y'all see what it is. Lindell, peace, what's happening? Soul Flow, peace, what's happening? What's the word? How we living and feeling on this wonderful Friday? You know, we tapped in, spreading that positivity. Mark, peace, what's happening? What's the word? We tapped in, spreading that positivity. Hey, true words worth. What's happening? Peace. What's the word? Montel, man, everything is good, man. Can't complain. Can't complain. I mean, we can, but you know, complaining does absolutely nothing to shift your circumstances. Jakari, peace. What's happening? Serving the God for sure. We tapped in. Gonna try to drop some little jewels, you know. Magic, man. Everything is peaceful, man. Everything is peaceful. Everything is peaceful, man. Stand centered, stand balanced. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. But we talking about overthinking. How many of you all suffer from overthinking? How many of you all are overthinkers? You know, let me know. Tap in with me. How many of you all would consider yourselves overthinkers? Or how many of you all have moments where you tend to overthink? Hey, Montel, it's all good, man. Hey, life happens, man. For sure. Serving the guy out. Yep, exactly. Yep. Overthinking definitely leads to that. Missing out on opportunities. It leads to inaction. MC, what's happening? It definitely leads to inaction. Patrick, yeah, I was that way in school, and it was crazy. You know, sometimes I do okay on the test when I really could have did splendid. You know what I'm saying? I'm just overthinking. You know, some of the questions I got wrong, I had the right answer first. So I used to be that way in school a lot. So I'm already knowing. But overthinking, man, that's an impediment, man, to your progress. It's an impediment to your progress, man. Like nothing really trumps action. It's like, all right, man, once the seed is planted in the mind, now it's time to go ahead and act on the seed. You know, like I say, the longer you let these thoughts linger, the more chances you give yourself to overthink this whole process and situation. You know, so as soon as that seed is planted, man, you got to act on that. You know, and it doesn't matter what the goal is or what, you know, whatever it is you striving to do. You know, if you striving, if you want to lose weight, the moment you plant a seed in your mind to eat a certain type of way, man, just do it. What's the worst case scenario? If I want to lose weight and I say, okay, I'm going to eat this way, I'm going to go vegan. The worst case scenario is that going vegan is not, it doesn't help you reach your goal, and now you got to adopt a new regimen. That's the worst case scenario, you know. But again, when a person is overthinking, they thinking about a million different ways that going vegan can go wrong for them. They thinking about how people gonna view them. They thinking about where they gonna get the protein from. They thinking about how they gonna go out to eat. They thinking about all this type of stuff. They thinking about way too much. Man, just do it. Experiment. Soon as the seed is planted, man, soon as the seed planted, do what you need to do. Test it out. Again, worst case scenario. You know, they always tell you, think about the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is not nearly as bad as we tend to think. So whatever it is that you overthinking about, I'm telling you, it's not that bad. Just put it into motion. Okay, yeah, analysis paralysis. Yes. Yes. That is a big problem. But a lot of people, it will cause you to not do anything. I've been there and I've done that. Been there, done that. You say you're going to do something, you start overthinking this process, you end up not doing anything related to what it was you said you was going to do. You have permanently put an end to the pursuit of that goal simply because you thought about it too much. So that's what I mean by leading to inaction. I've been there, done that a million times. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then every time I set out to do it, I'm in my head, I'm thinking about it. Years that went past, done absolutely nothing. The cure to overthinking is simply action. That's the only cure to overthinking. It is just action. Move. Put it into motion instantly. Instantly. Soon as you come up with the idea, put it into motion. They say they give the advice of when you come up, when you have a goal in mind, when you have an objective in mind, one of the pieces of advice that I came across that I found to be very useful is that when you have a goal in mind, then they say, okay, what's the simplest next step that I can take? That's something that is just that simple. You know, boom. If weight loss is my goal, what's the simplest next step that I can take? Oh, I'm going to drink more water. Something like that, you know. Just keep making those simple next steps. And next thing you know, you didn't accomplish the goal. You have fulfilled the mission. So think of the simplest next step, because a lot of times when we have a goal in our minds, the overthinking stems from us looking too far ahead. So we overlooking those simple next steps, and we thinking like we already in the middle of the process. The simple next step. Think about that. Whatever it is that you striving to do, what is the simplest next step that you can take, and just take it. Just take it. Take the simplest next step. Whatever the goal is, what is the simplest next step you can take? Magic, what you say, overthinking happens to me when I'm designing something on the computer. I be feeling like that don't seem right. It's not it. Man, matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I can compare that to being a writer, being an artist. When they talk about writer's block, really no such thing. Perfectionism, being a perfectionist, is also a disease. And I think that's in alignment with overthinking. And it's like at the end of the day, when I studied writers, they was like, man, just write whatever comes to your mind. It don't have to be perfect. You can always go back and revise it and edit it, things like that. But just let it flow. Let the thoughts flow. You know, don't sit and overthink what to put on that paper, or what to put on that computer screen, on that Word document. Don't overthink it. Just write. Just write. Same with drawing or designing something. Man, just draw. You know, there will be other opportunities to design something in the future. So just lay something out. Might not be perfect. Then you can go back, look at it, and be like, all right, the next joint I do, this how I'm gonna go about it. That's the best way to do that. You know, I equate that to like a writer. Like I used to believe in writer's block way back when, but now I don't. To me, there is no such thing as writer's block. You know, again, that's somebody that's striving to be a perfectionist, and that's somebody that's overthinking. I always got something that I can write down. Always. You know, I'm never, listen, there's never a point to where I don't have anything I can jot down. It just may not be what I want to jot down, but that don't necessarily mean that there's nothing that I have in my mind that I could put on that paper. You know, so I stopped subscribing to writer's block. You know, in the moment I eliminated that idea or that concept from my mind, hey, couldn't stop me with the writing. Montel, you say overthinking is when I talk to people sometimes, or when you having conversations with people. Oh yeah, see now with that, I don't even whatever somebody tells me, I accept whatever they tell me. I'm not trying to read in between lines, none of that. If I have any confusion when I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm going to ask a question. But when I'm having conversations with folks, I'm never going to assume I understood something. I'm not going to assume I know something based on what they said. I'm just going to accept the things they telling me. And if I don't understand something, I'm going to ask for clarity. I'm not trying to read between lines. I'm not trying to think I got somebody figured out. None of that. You know, that's how I eliminate all of that when it comes to communicating with people or having a dialogue or conversation with another person. I ain't striving to read between lines and think I got folks figured out, think I know what somebody meant. Like, if I don't know what you meant, I ask you what you mean by that. Even if I'm like 99% sure I know what you mean, I'm going to ask for clarity before I answer a question or before I respond to what you said. I'm going to make sure we on the same page. Even if I'm 99% sure, even if you said something and I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure this is what this means. But before I elaborate, before I answer and respond, let me make sure we on the same page. So flow, it ain't procrastination, perfectionism, overthinking. Terrible. You know what I'm saying? We got to put an end to all of that. Again, the cure to procrastination is action. Just start doing it. What's the simplest next step you can take? I'm going to ask that question to everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you want to expand and start sculpting, what is the simplest next step that you can take? Whatever the answer to that is, do that. And don't even ask no questions. Whatever the simplest next step is, just do it. Just do it. Don't think about it. Don't get in your mind. Whatever that next step is, whatever the simplest next step you could take is, take the step. Flat out. Goldie, peace, what's happening? Cameron, you say, I find that when I overthink, it's usually about other people's possible criticism about what I'm pursuing. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the worst ones. That's one of the worst ones. Because at the end of the day, it boils down to this. What they say, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So it don't matter if you do exactly what people want you to do. They still gonna have some sort of criticism. So at the end of the day, I look at it like I might as well do what it is that I want to do. Because no matter which direction I travel, somebody is going to have something to say. So I no longer even concern myself with that. You know, that used to affect me slightly, worrying about how others would perceive what I'm doing. You know, now I don't even care, because at the end of the day, people gonna say something regardless. You know, you could be out here striving for peace. You can be the most peaceful person on the planet, and somebody somewhere is gonna have something to say about that. Now, you could be a person that's into no drama, minding your business, helping out folks, and somebody somewhere still gonna have something negative to say. They're gonna have some sort of criticism. You know, and those criticisms stem from some self-hatred or some displeasure that they have with themselves. You know, so they got to project it out on you. They got to make you feel some type of way because they feel some type of way. I no longer get caught up in that. When somebody criticizes something that I'm doing and what I'm doing is not destructive, I now understand that they have a problem with themselves. You know, so I don't even entertain it. Because when you criticize me, like if you criticize in the way that I'm eating clean, Akuma, what's happening? If you criticize in the way that I'm eating, then that lets me know that you have a problem with the way that you are eating. You know, if you criticize a business move that I've made, then in my mind, that means you have a problem with the business moves that you have made or lack thereof. So whatever it is somebody is criticizing that I'm doing and it's not destructive in regards to what I'm doing, then it's some jealousy, it's some envy there, you know, and that's how I tend to interpret that. They have a problem. It's some insecurity that they may have, and they trying to project that insecurity out on me. Well, they can try that somewhere else. You know, I'm bulletproof. Like those shots no longer affect me. They don't even touch me. You know, I got a bulletproof shield around me. So a lot of that stems from their own insecurities, and I don't even acknowledge that. You know, I make moves now, and I don't care what anybody has to say. I don't care what anybody thinks. You know, I'm officially on that level. I'm officially at the point where I no longer care about what somebody has to say about what I'm doing, about a decision that I've made, about a path that I've chosen to take. I no longer care. You know, and I don't even, you know, I don't analyze folks and critique the path that they on unless they ask me a question. You know, if don't nobody ask me, I don't throw it out there. You know, so I give out the energy that I would like to receive. So I don't care what somebody has to say about decisions that I've made, or you know what I'm saying, path that I've chosen to walk. It is what it is, man. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Somebody somewhere gonna have a problem with you no matter what you do. You know? Kenyatta, what's happening? Akuma for sure. And again, you know, when you in situations like that, it ain't even nothing to overthink. You just know you shouldn't be around the people. You know, that's the reality. I don't even need to think about it anymore. I'm around some people I shouldn't be around. That's it. End of thought. I shouldn't be around. I ain't about to continue to allow my health to deteriorate by overthinking it. I know I shouldn't be around these people. I'm around them, so let's make the best of it. You know, it's just like that. That's the simplest next step I can take. I'm in a situation, I'm in an environment that I shouldn't be in, but I'm here and I really can't do anything about it in regards to leaving the environment. So we're going to make the best out of this situation. Oh, yeah, Goldie, for sure, man. I'm telling you. And they did that with a lot of our leaders, you know. Critique them off of their past as if people can't transform. I used to get some of that back in the day when I was making changes in my life. Like, man, you ain't the dude. You ain't the dude you was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You'd have been on this. I'm like, well, yeah, that was 10 years ago. That was 5 years ago. You know, it's called evolving. It's called growth and development, you know. So I used to get some of that. It's like people was holding me to the person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, I don't want to be that same person, and you shouldn't want to be the same person that was associating with the five with the me of 5 years ago. You shouldn't want to be that same person, you know? So that, you know, that's how that goes. So again, damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter what, you know, the moment I realized all that when I started making the healthy changes in my life, and I was getting criticized for that. Like the moment I said I'm about to start eating healthy and people start critiquing that in a negative manner, that's when I really, really, really realized it doesn't matter what I do. Somebody gonna have something to say. Like that's when it resonated with me. At that moment, it clicked. When I started to eat healthy and take care of my health in that way, and people had something negative to say, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it really don't matter what you do in life. Like it don't matter what you do in life. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter what you do. You eating healthy, you meditating, all this type of stuff, and people still like, yep. Still got something to say, man. I've been there, done that. It was at that moment that I stopped really caring about people and their perspective or perception towards what it is that I'm doing. It was at that moment, like 12, 13 years ago. That's when I cut that off. Like the moment I started making healthy changes and people looking at me like it's a problem. Like, man, I can't eat healthy. I can't take care of myself. Like, why is this bothering you so much? You know, why every time I come around you, you got something slick to say about the way that I'm eating, the way that I'm not drinking, You know, the way that I'm taking care of my body, the way that I'm taking care of my mind. You know, every time I come around, you got something to say. Like that's when I realized how disturbed people were, you know, and how deep the self-hatred runs and the insecurities that folks deal with. You know, so I just wish those people well, man. But I don't associate with them like that if I don't have to. You know, if I gotta be around them, then I know and understand what's about to come my way. You know, and I deal with it accordingly. You know, so again, like if I'm placing myself in an environment where I have to associate with some people I'm not too fond of, then I know exactly kind of what they're gonna say. Then I prepare myself. You know, that's how you got to do it, man. I prepare myself. Again, not overthinking the situation. You know I'm about to go deal with such and such. Every time I get around them, they say X, Y, and Z, and then this is how I'm about to respond this time. You know, so that's how I tend to do that. When I know who I'm dealing with, I deal with them according to that. You know, when you reveal to me who you are, when you reveal to me your character, when I get around you, then I'm going to deal with you according to what you have revealed to me. Nothing more, nothing less. I ain't going to overthink that process. Like straight up. LG for sure. And peace, what's happening? Hey, Kuma, man, yeah, we ain't even got to sit in the woods, you know? We ain't got to sit in the woods. Like I say, man, we could be around these people and not be phased. That takes a lot of discipline and strength, you know, but it's possible to reach that level of enlightenment to where you can be around these folks and be unfazed. Like straight up. Logic on lockdown. Peace, what's happening? And that's just that I have mastered that level of discipline when it comes to certain areas. Just being around folks that normally would bother me maybe years ago, and now I could be around them and they the same exact person, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me. Like back in the day, like I'd be phased, like I'm tired of this person, man. Every time I get around you, this, that, and the third. But it's like now I could be around the same person. They doing the same antics. They displaying the same antics, but I'm unfazed. I'm unbothered. You know, I'm not about to let folks dictate my mood. I'm not about to let folks dictate how I feel. I'm not about to let you break my vibe. Like I'm not giving anybody that power. You know, I refuse. I don't give that power to anybody but myself. Like I have that power. I'm not about to let anything outside of me dictate how I feel. You know, if I'm having a peaceful day, I'm going to continue to have that peaceful day until I decide to disturb that peace. You know, if I'm having a great day, I'm going to continue to have a great day until I decide not to. I'm not about to let anybody else say, oh, this dude having a great day. Let me go ahead and let me disrupt that. Let me disturb that. Let me bring him down. Nah, you don't have that power. You know, and we relinquish that power on a day-to-day basis. We always giving other people and other situations and circumstances the power to dictate and determine how we feel, how we move, how we think, how we eat. You know, we even allow these situations and circumstances to dictate how we eat. You didn't let somebody make you mad. Now you about to go grab some junk food. Sweet tea, what's happening? So we allow other people to dictate how we eat. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't be doing that. What they call emotional eating. You know, something didn't happen and it made you emotional or it influenced you to be emotional. And now you grabbing toxic foods. You grabbing the food that's destroying you. All because you are allowing outside or external factors to dictate how you feel. I'm not allowing that. I'm not about to say, man, these people pissing me off. I need to grab a drink. Man, I'm going to drink my smoothie regardless. Man, I can't stand these folks, man. I need to go out and give me some alcohol. So you allowing other folks to dictate and determine what you place inside your body. Like we can't be doing that. I'm going to stick to my regimen no matter what happens in my life. It'll take a lot to happen in my life to where I'm not able to go drink my smoothies. And I don't care how my day is going. I'm drinking these smoothies, fam. I'm not letting anything, I'm not going to only drink the smoothies when I'm feeling good, when I'm feeling better. No, I'm drinking the smoothies because that's just what I'm going to do. You know, if I decide to eat something that ain't right and exact, it's because I decided to eat something that's not right and exact. Not because, oh man, such and such that got on my nerves, man. So I'm about to just grab something to eat and eat whatever. Like, nah, man, I don't give situations and circumstances the power to determine when I eat, how I eat, and like I said, how I think, what I think, all that. Nope. We gotta rise above all of that. Because that's leading you in the path or towards the path of destruction, self-destruction. Self-destruction. Like straight up. Yeah, Kuma, man. I know people that's like that. You know, and for the most part, I would tend to do that. But even that, you know what I'm saying? It's still something outside of us that's dictating what we decide to do. Like, nah, man, I ain't giving nothing that power, man, because if I'm mad and I'm choosing not to eat, well, something that made me mad or something that influenced me to be mad. I'm good on that. Like, I'm good on it, man. I'm good on giving people all that type of power, man. I'm good on it. Good on giving circumstances all that power. Like, I might be mad or angry for a split second, as I said in my live stream, but then now it's like whatever I'm mad about something because it's a problem. And for every problem, I have some sort of solution. Again, the solution may not be favorable. It may not be something that I care for, but there is a solution to the problem. So I'm just going to put that into motion. I'm going to keep it rocking. But I'm not going to settle on being upset because of something outside of my control. Only thing that I can control in situations like that is how I perceive the situation and what I do going forward. You know, and that's what I tend to settle on. That's what I tend to settle on. How I perceive the situation and what I can do moving forward to avoid the situation, deal with it better, whatever the case may be. But that's how you got to tackle situations and circumstances like that, man. It's cool to be mad, but don't settle on that. That's what we say, settling on the worst part. You know, be mad, but don't let that last too long, because that's going to only harm you at the end of the day. And don't repress it, you know what I'm saying? Or don't suppress it. Jeremy, peace, what's happening? You know, don't suppress the anger. Deal with it, you know. Let it do its thing. Let it run its course. But don't suppress it and don't let it linger. You know, deal with it and ask yourself a few questions. Get to the bottom of it, and then we're going to keep it pushing. Like, for real. And again, that's where the overthinking comes into play, man. We just be thinking too much about stuff, man. We be thinking way too hard, you know, and I feel like sometimes as people, as humans, like that's our problem. You know, sometimes we be so intelligent that we kind of dumb at the same time. Like sometimes we be so intelligent that we dumb at the same exact time, man. And that's a downfall of a lot of people, man. We so smart with it that we dumb. And that's what overthinking tends to do for you. Overthinking tends to activate that reality of us being so smart, we stupid. You doing all this thinking, all this great thinking, which has led to you doing absolutely nothing. So that's dumb. You know, it's smart thoughts, but then now you've done nothing, so now it's dumb. You know, so that's what tends to happen with us, man. We do all this thinking just to be inactive or just to be upset and just to, you know, not be able to run through certain obstacles and jump over certain hurdles. You know, so what's the point of being able to do all this thinking? What's the point of doing all that thinking, even accumulating all this information? What's the point if you not putting anything into motion to better your life, better your circumstances? What is the point? I'm learning all this stuff about the mind just for me not to put it into practice. So like, I'm smart, but I'm dumb. You know, if I'm going to learn about the mind, if I'm going to learn how to master my emotions, I'm not learning that just to have the information. I'm learning how to master the mind and master the emotions so I can do that. So I can be that. I'm not learning that just to be able to spit the rhetoric out to people. Nah, I'm learning that. You know, I'm learning that to master self, to put it into practice. For real. Akuma, science also told you to test your hypothesis by experimenting. So science also, listen, the scientific method, you have to experiment, you know, so it told you, even in science, not to settle on the hypothesis. Nah, once you come up with the hypothesis, you got to test it. You got to test it out. You know, so science lets you know. You got to put in the work. You got to experiment. You have to experiment. In order for you to see what variables work in the first place, you have to test them all by experimentation. If I want to know what's the best diet for my body, what do I have to do? I have to come up with something. I say, okay, cool. I want to figure out what's the best diet for my body type. Okay, now I have 4 or 5 diets or regimens. What do I have to do? I have to experiment with all 5 of them. And I have to take notes to see which one is best for my body type. So I can create a hypothesis and I can say, all right, for my body type, they say veganism, pescatarianism, vegetarianism are the 3 best diets for my body type. Okay, boom. There we go. Now let me experiment and let me take notes. And then at the end, we're going to see which one is actually the best. But I would not have reached any type of conclusion if I just thought about it. You know, or accumulated, not like, no, I have to experiment. Let me go vegan for a month. Then let me go pescatarian for a month. Then let me go vegetarian for a month. And let me see what's up. Khalil, peace, what's happening? You know, so again, overthinking, disease is killing us, holding a lot of us back. You know, you could be conquering the world right now, you know, and I know you could be conquering the world. I know it's a lot that y'all want to do. I know it's a lot of abilities that y'all have, and y'all holding yourselves back. Straight up. All of y'all right now could be doing way, way, way more if y'all just got out of your own heads, man. And I'm speaking to y'all and I'm speaking to myself. You know, it's plenty of things that I be in my head about, but I've gotten better with that over time. You know what they say at the end of the day, you in your own way. You know, I can vouch for that statement being a reality. I was in my own way a lot of the times. Like, I had to get out of my way, fam, so I can go and be great. You know, and a lot of y'all, the same applies. You got to get out of your way so you can go ahead and be great and do your thing. So you can go ahead and be great and do your thing, man. You all in your way. You overthinking. You're thinking too much. You accumulating it from, at some point, you got to go from 1 to 2. You got to take it from 1 to 2 so you can get to the 3. You know, that's how you got to do it. We don't get stuck at the 1. Don't get stuck there. You know, at some point, you got to take everything that you've learned, everything that you've observed, and you got to start acting and doing some things. Stop worrying about the circumstances being perfect. Stop waiting for an opportunity or the perfect opportunity to present itself to you. Nah, just do something. If it don't work, do something else. If that don't work, do something else. Like, keep doing something until you find out what works. You know, you got to be swift and changeable, fam. Just like, again, with the regimen, how to eat, man. Keep making small, gradual changes until you figure out what way of eating works for you. You know, I tapped in, I experimented with some things, and I know which way of eating works for me. You know, so I settled on that. So experiment, man. Figure out what works for you by doing, not by thinking. You got to do it. Like, all right, I think this might be the best for me. You would never know until you do it. It's like going on the job, man. The best way, like when you sit at the computer when they training, man, you done had training for 2 weeks. You done sat at a computer for 2 weeks. You know, you done sat at a computer for 2 weeks, man, and had to watch all this nonsense. The only way you really learn that job is by getting out there in the field, doing the actual job. You know, when I'm working in the banks, they got me training for 2 weeks. I'm looking at these computers, bored out of my mind. I didn't learn how to do the job right and exact until I actually went out there and did the job. Like straight up. That's how that went. I had to get experience. I had to get on that job. I had to do my thing. And that's how you learn. Go out there, experience, do something. Kuma, for sure. And I was talking about stuff like that with a client, man. Just certain activities that you can't overthink on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't overthink when you playing basketball, man, because that's gonna hinder you. That's gonna hinder your progress. It's just gonna hinder you being effective on the court. You know, I had that problem back when I played back in the day. You know, my pops would be in the stands like, you thinking too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, you overthink it. Like when I played football, man, you can't overthink. The moment I'm overthinking playing football back in the day, I done forgot to play. I done forgot my assignment on the play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to fumble this rock. I'm about to drop this ball. If I'm overthinking, this stuff is what's going to happen. Like boxing. If you out here overthinking, you about to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain activities where you can't overthink, or it's going to cost you drastically. You know, so I done played all the sports to where if you think too much, it's a problem. You know, things got to become automatic. So when you out on the basketball, man, you got to react. It's got to be automatic, man. You can't be out here thinking. The moment you think, somebody blew past you. You know, so hey, it's got to be automatic, man. You know, and you want to get to that point in life to where things are automatic. You know, and that's what comes with just programming the mind properly, so that you don't have to really think about a lot of things. You know, because it's ingrained in your mind to do certain things, to be a certain type of person. You know, so you got to make it easier on yourself by properly programming your mind, properly programming your brain, and feeding the brain the right foods so that the health of the brain doesn't deteriorate over time. You know, so take care of your brain by feeding it the right foods. You know, get your omega-3s and whatnot. Magic, exactly. That's 100% how that process is supposed to go. You know, a lot of times, especially as men, we like to be rational, we like to be logical. But when it comes to like art, when it comes to creating, sometimes, man, it ain't really about something making sense, really. You know, at least at that time. It's almost like when I write poetry, man, when I wrote raps and all that type of stuff, man, I let that go, you know, and I just let it flow. You know, so what might not have made sense in the beginning when I wrote it down, but when I tapped in and analyzed it, it was some sense in what I wrote. You know, so I might have spit a poem or a rap to somebody, and they may not have understood a line. And that's when I come in to decipher it and break it down. You got plenty of artists like that these days, man. They'll say something, you like, man, what does he mean by that? You know, they tapped in. They was tapped in. So sometimes you got to suspend that logical part of the brain. Like, man, this don't make sense. It don't make sense right now. Just because something doesn't make sense to you at the moment doesn't mean that it doesn't make any sense. You know, you may just not understand what the point is at that moment. So you got to sit with it a little longer for it to make sense. You know, so you might be tapped into something right now, and it may not make sense in the current moment, but you may revisit it a week later and now it makes sense. It's like a math problem that you didn't understand initially, And after practice, a week later, 2 weeks later, now you understand how to do it. So now it all makes sense. You know, certain things are like that. You know, so when it comes to creating, when it comes to art, man, you just got to let that creative mind do its thing. You know, and that creative mind is the unconscious mind. You know, so you got to tap into that unconscious mind and let it work. Let it work. It's like a dream. You know, your subconscious mind will speak to you via a dream, and sometimes the dream won't make a lick of sense to you logically. But when you start looking up signs and symbols, now you can piece that dream together, and now it all makes sense because now you understand the language, the symbolism. But initially, when you woke up, you was like, man, I don't know what that dream was talking about, but that dream was talking about something. You just ain't understanding the language. You know, so when I be writing, when I be in that creative space, I always turn that portion of the brain off. I have to. And I just let that unconscious mind do its thing. You know, and that's how you come up with the best art. That's how you create. That's how the best creations are made by tapping into that unconscious. The best inventions have been made by folks relaxing and tapping into that unconscious mind. You know, that's the proper way to create. You know, I done been there, done that. I can vouch for that 1,000%. You know, if I want to write a poem, if I need to write a poem, I tap into that space. I tap into that mind and that mind only. When I tap into the conscious mind, when I let the conscious mind try to guide a situation, I don't like how it turns out. I don't like how it turns out. When I let the conscious mind try to guide the process, like it's too much technicalities that's going on with the process. Like, nah. Like I'm doing this in an unorthodox, unconventional way. You know, when I'm typing using the conscious mind, I'm worried about punctuation. I'm worried about putting a comma somewhere. Man, look, let the unconscious guide me. And then I can come back and add that stuff later. I can come back and fix that stuff later. I'm worried about formatting it. I'm worried about all this other stuff. Man, get the stuff on the document. Get the stuff on the Word document. And I come back and do all that. You know, forget all that, man. I'm waiting for the perfect sentence. Man, just write something. You know, I can start with an imperfect sentence and come back, revise it, and make it perfect. Man, Logic on Lockdown, I'm already knowing. You know, I done been around the beat makers, and the best beat makers I've seen, they ain't overthinking it. They just let it, like they feel they got a vibe, they feeling the vibe, and now they own it. They rolling with it. Same with me being an artist and MC. You know, give me this beat, I'm feeling it, I'm letting it ride. I'm letting it ride. Like this beat, it inspired a certain feeling in me, so I'm gonna ride that vibe, I'm gonna ride that wave, ride that feeling, and I'm gonna let it flow. I'm gonna let the hand flow, and I'm gonna write. You know, I ain't about to overthink it, try to come up with the perfect 16, the perfect hook, all that. Nah, I'm good. I heard this beat, boom. If that beat inspires me, then I'm about to go in on it. I ain't about to overthink that process. You know, and that's how I did everything. That's how I did all my writing, man. When I used to rap back then, man, I give me that beat, cool. This is what we finna do with it. The worst that can happen is I write a 16 and I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I write a song and I don't like it, and now I just write another one. That's the worst that can happen. I wrote this hook, I don't like this hook, let me do another one. I don't like this verse, let me do another one. That's the worst that can happen. So let me not overthink this. Oh yeah, so flow, man. And, hey, exactly. And I've been there, done that. You know, I got a piece of paper and I'm staring on it. I'm staring at it. I'm staring at that piece of paper. The mug just blank. I ain't starting nothing. All because I'm waiting for the perfect line to come up in my head. Man, just write something, man. Put something down, man. It ain't got to be the hardest line on the planet, the hardest sentence on the planet, but just get started. You know, once I would get started, a lot of the times, man, everything will flow from that. You know, just get started. Like I said, I can always come back and change it. But the moment I just get one sentence down, everything about to start flowing from that one sentence, man. So now I got it. I'm in the rhythm. But if you sit there, you overthinking, like, man, I need the perfect word. I need to come in this song and kill him, man. I need the perfect line. Man, come on, man. I don't need all that. I'm gonna just let it flow. However this beat pulls me, I'm gonna go in that direction and see where it takes me. If I like it, we gonna rock with it. If I don't, go back to the drawing boards. That easy. That easy right there, man. It's that simple for me. Back to the drawing board. Kuma for sure. Hey, man, you know, I just read something about about that control factor, you know, and how we need to learn how to let go of that. You know, trying to be in control of everything leads to a lot of anxiety, leads to a lot of frustration, all that good stuff. You know, when you plant a seed in regards to a goal or an objective, man, there are what they would say infinite possibilities in regards to the way that you can accomplish a goal. But a lot of times we come up with a goal and we come up with the process to reach the goal, and we think that's the only way. I'm gonna reach this goal by doing this. I want to make $20,000 a month, and I'm gonna make it doing this. Well, things may unfold in a different direction for you, but you may still reach that same end goal. You know, just like you can arrive at a destination using different routes, you know, but a lot of times we get attached to a certain process, you know, and we think this the only way, or a certain path. We think in order for me to get to this, I got to do it like this. And when things don't go according to that plan, it's that control factor kicking in. When things don't go according to our plan, like we start getting frustrated and angry, when in reality, maybe it's not going according to our plan because our plan wasn't the best plan or the best route to travel to reach that destination, taking the best part from it. You know, but trying to control almost every aspect of life, or at least thinking you can, or at least just even having that seed planted in your mind, like that leads to a lot of anxiety and frustration and anger, man, because at the end of the day, it's more outside of your control. You know, it's more things that's outside of your control. Like I said, the only thing you can control is how you perceive things that's happening around you. But all this stuff that's around you or around us, we cannot control it. We cannot control it, man. So I can only control how I perceive it and how I adapt and adjust. That's it. You know, I didn't have plenty of plans, or I didn't have plenty of visions and objectives not go my way, but then I will adapt and adjust. Okay, all right, boom. I wanted it to go this way, but okay, life got other plans. So let me go ahead and travel this way. I'm still about to reach this same goal though. You know, so the end goal always remains the same, but the way to reach it might differ, you know, because we got an infinite amount of ways, man, that we can reach a goal. You know, but a lot of times we get stuck on one or two different paths. Like, all right, I thought this don't work. I got plan A, B, and C. But man, it might be 500 different plans that you can have that'll work to reach that goal, you know, and you got 3. And when those 3 don't work, you think it's impossible for you to do whatever it was you were striving to do. Well, 3 didn't work, man. There may be 497 more plans that you can create. So they tell you to have plan A, plan B, plan C. You might have to have 500 plans, you know, straight up. There are a lot of ways to get to where you're striving to go. A lot of ways. More than 3, more than 5, more than 10. You know, straight up. So when I have a goal in mind, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I know the goal is going to be reached. Now, the how, that that may change. You know, if I have a goal to be the healthiest version of myself, hey, the how may change. Like the way I eat may change, the way I work out may change, but hey, the end goal to be the healthiest version of myself, that will happen. You know, so that's how I plant the seeds, man. At the end of the day, I know this will happen. How it's gonna happen, may not know that, but I know this is gonna happen though, because I set my intentions. I got the right energy surrounding the goal. So now I'm just about to let things unfold. Straight up. Logic on lockdown for sure. Kevin, you say, but what wouldn't life be better if your goals was a straight, smooth path as long as you work hard? Not necessarily. I don't think life would be better. It's the equivalent. It's like when we have certain goals, or when we strive to attain certain things, and we think that acquiring these things will make our lives better. Not necessarily the case. It's like people wishing for more money sometimes, thinking that more money will solve their problems and make their lives better. Then they get the more money and it doesn't do it. And now they striving to get more money. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way with that. Just because it was a straight, smooth path to reach a goal don't necessarily mean life would be better. You know, and just because something was complicated or was difficult doesn't make life worse. You know, it might be better for you to experience a ton of different obstacles, you know, to reach a goal. You might have had to go through that to help out some other folks or to help yourself out going forward. If everything is always going smooth in your life, you're not really learning a lot of lessons, and you're not building strength, and you're not building character. So just because something is going smooth and because you're working hard, don't necessarily mean that it's going to be better. You know, sometimes our greatest lessons come out of things not being smooth. You know, we build our best character out of things not being smooth. You know, we grow and evolve, and we reach our highest levels of transformation out of things not being smooth. It's like boom, I'm reaching my greatest level of health by experiencing symptoms. You know what I'm saying? Nosebleeds, headaches, all this type of stuff. Like straight up. So sometimes you got to go through that, man. What they say, we got to go through that hell in order to come out right. You know, we know hell is a state of mind and things along those lines. Hey, Cameron, for sure. And it's a benefit. It's pros and cons to everything. So when you really break it down, what you may think is really bad is actually good. You know, and that happens a lot of times in life. That's why a lot of times I don't even label things as good as bad. You know, I just label them as experiences. You know, something happened to me. You know, I'm not going to say this was good. I'm not going to say this is bad. It's something, it was just something that I experienced. You know, that's it. Because a lot of times, man, the stuff that we deem as bad, man, it's a lot of jewels that we can gain from analyzing it. So then when you extract a lot of lessons from it, was it really bad? You know, so if I say something bad happened to me, yet that bad thing that happened caused me to grow, caused me to evolve, caused me to become a better person because of the lessons that I extracted from it, was that bad? The answer to that is no. You know, so we always got to take the best parts of what happens to us. You know, always take the best part and you settle on the best part. You know, it's always two sides to everything. It's always that so-called positive and negative, you know. So when I accepted that reality, then it was like everything that happened to me, man, I knew that it was something that I could take away from it. So why would I focus on the bad part about it, the bad aspects of it? Like, nah, it's something I could take away from it. So I'm gonna take away my lesson and I'm gonna apply whatever it was that I took away from it, and I'm gonna keep pushing. You know, and that's how we should be living life. That's how we should be powering through life. But I do that all the time, man. I analyze the situation, man. Something that happened to me, I analyze it, break it down, and just see what I can learn from it. you know, and I apply it to my life. We always say apply to self, you know, and that's what I do. You know, this may on paper, this may look like it's something that's bad. From the outside looking in, this may look like I'm going through it. But like, nah, for real though, this is transforming me. So I ain't really going through it. So a lot of times, man, people might hear something that's happening in my life. I may be describing some things or a pattern of events. You might be like, Dad, that's crazy. Like, man, that's messed up. Like, nah, not really. You know, because each situation is allowing me to grow and become better. Shakir, peace, what's happening? You know, and that's how I tap in. Like I said, I ain't gonna think too hard about it. That's when you start becoming depressed and things like that, man. First of all, when you label something as bad, like it ain't any good aspect to it, like this is what leads to these depressing thoughts. When something happens to you, you just strictly label it as bad, like there's no lesson to be extracted from it. You know, something happened to you, you just say, well, that was bad. And you don't examine the situation, you know? So then when you don't examine it, you don't take anything away from it. So now you just view it as something bad that happened to you. Now you're depressed. Instead, I'm about to be like, all right, this happened to me. It was neither good nor bad. It just happened. So let me examine this. Dominique, what's happening? Let me examine what really happened and why it's happening to me. You know, this happened to me. Let me examine the energy that I was putting out. You know, let me see. Was I putting out the proper energy? Maybe not. This is why this came back. This is why this came back on me like this, you know? So I'm always analyzing a situation like that. What did I do to contribute to this happening to me? Because I played a role into why this is happening. Kevin, what you say, but aren't there some things that are objectively bad, like having bad credit or living paycheck to paycheck? First of all, again, no. If you have bad credit, guess what? It was a situation, it was a series of choices that led to you having the bad credit. So now going forward, first of all, bad credit is not an end all be all. You can rebuild your credit. You know, so bad credit is not something that you got to live with for life. You know what I'm saying? There's a process you can undergo to repair your bad credit. So if there is something that's called bad credit, then there's something called good credit. So then there means there's a process where I can go from bad to good, you know? And then there was a series of choices that led to me having bad credit. So no, that's not objectively bad because I can repair that. And when I repair that, then that's going to not only help me, but it's going to help people that's underneath me because now I can teach them, say, hey, don't do what I did. And then this is what even if you do decide to do that, then this is how you repair that. And living paycheck to paycheck, no, it's only bad when you think that's how you have to live. And you don't think that there's any way that you can remove yourself from that type of situation. So living paycheck to paycheck, of course, is not objectively bad. First of all, the one reason it's not bad because at least you have a paycheck. There are some people that do not have a paycheck. So the fact that you are first of all, it's two things in that. One, you have a paycheck. So that's not bad. Second, you said living. So how is something objectively bad if I'm living? First, I'm living and then I have a paycheck. So I'm living, meaning I have the opportunity to change my circumstance. That's already some good in that. And then paycheck to paycheck. Well, at least I have a paycheck. There's plenty of people that do not have it. So if I got to live paycheck to paycheck for a second, you know what I'm saying, for a little minute, then I just got to do what I got to do. But again, I'm living and have a paycheck, meaning I'm getting a paycheck from somewhere. You know, so those are two things to be grateful for already. You know, so the fact that I'm living and breathing means I have the opportunity to change this situation that I'm not too fond of. You know, so there it is already. So again, whatever you can point out that may be bad, man, it's some lesson that can be learned. Even in, I'm gonna even go deep with it, even in death. Even in the way people die, like it's something to be learned from death every time. It's something to be learned. Whether it's people just ignorant, I'm still learning something. You know what I'm saying? So it's something to be learned in everything that we perceive as bad. You know, and again, it ain't even that I'm calling the act itself good. All I'm saying is it's something that just happened, so I can extract lessons from it. So I'm not saying when people hear me say something is not necessarily bad, that don't mean that I'm also calling it good. I'm just saying it is something that happened. Somebody dying is something that happened. I'm not going to say it's bad. I'm not going to say it's good. It just, somebody died. You know, sometimes we just got to look at things for what they are, not it being good or bad. I'm going to look at it, whatever happened, that's how I look at it. Okay, somebody died. I'm not going to be like, dang, that's messed up. They died. Nope, I'm going to say that person died because that's what happened. Or that person was killed. That is literally what happened. So I'm not going to place any type of label on it in regards to it being good, bad, positive, negative. I'm going to point it out however it's presented to me. This person broke their leg. Like, I'm just going to acknowledge what happened. You know, I'm not going to look at it, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's good. No, I'm just going to call it how it is, you know, and I'm going to take whatever I can from it. Oh, Dominique, for sure. And there you go. It was lessons in the homelessness. Ain't that something? You know, so even the homelessness was not necessarily a negative. You know, ain't that crazy? It's lessons in the homelessness. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You homeless and you came out of that right and exact. So you took something from being homeless. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. You said, all right, man, I'm faced with this type of environment or this type of living condition. I'm never going back to this. And this is what I'm about to do. And you change your situation, change your circumstance. Like, come on now. But y'all, man, with that being said, man, I got to make my moves. I make my rounds. I got to head back to this gym, man. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. But I'm going to, man, I'll be getting hit up from all different angles. I'm going to let y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Friday, man. I appreciate all y'all tapping in, man. All the comments, man, all the questions, all that good stuff, man. It's always peace tapping in with y'all and building with y'all. But I got to get on up out here. I got to make my move. So I'm going to let y'all get back to enjoying y'all wonderful Friday. Man, I got a pretty booked and solid weekend, so I may not be able to tap in with y'all. So I might tap in with y'all next week. You know, so y'all be easy, man. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend, man. I'm out. Peace.